Big Brother the Undertaker! China's got bandana and shades on. You, Richard Branson, and your private island.
It's a bit ambitious.
We're having all technical difficulties tonight, and I love it. This episode, sponsored by Technical Difficulties. Them calling him DJ gets 0 stars as well.
I think he does a good job, to be fair.
Rockwood's a bit shit here,
Top
doesn't he?
hardcore, Ali. And he's a fucking beast.
You're alright, you're doing a good job. Bodacious Bart, Bombastic Bob. My internet connection is unstable. Brett's fucked off down south now. Can I do the ruse gimmick?
Do you know what I mean? That's how you take a buckle, and that's what you've
He pulled the ruse this time.
But it's better than the last match.
Are we having technical difficulties again? Oh no! Not again.
Well, about Jack the Snake Roberts was just sitting there, just thinking, fuck.
Oh. So, we might look a little bit different. Well, one of us does anyway, because I'm still wearing the same t-shirt for continuity reasons. But we might have had some technical difficulties on the back end of recording the King of the Ring episode. So here we are for take 2.
I know, yeah. It's a bit creased as well. I just chucked it on. I thought it was the same colour top, but obviously not.
It's definitely not. Definitely not the same colour top. No one really cares. No one really would notice.
I fucked it.
We fucked it like Dan Severn fucks Buckley. So
yeah.
There you go. All of the gimmicks. Get it all in. So we'll get straight into it. We were picking off with the graphic for Too Much versus Al Snow and Head, as this is billed as a tag team match rather than a handicap match. You've got Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor, who later become Too Cool, Grandmaster Sexay, and Scotty Too Hottie. Shout out to them. It's their early days, to say the least. Very different package. But King puts them over as the greatest young tag team in the World Wrestling Federation today. What did you make of that comment, Marty?
It's a bit ambitious, I think. I know, I love Too Cool. Like, you know, when Rikishi joined later on, but yeah, they're a cool tag team. I like them a lot.
Yeah, they're all right. They're okay. They get the job done. They move on, definitely along with time. So then Al Snow and Head make their way to the ring, while all of the time JR is talking about how, you know, no referees in the ring. Al's having a conversation with Head, and then lo and behold, Howard Finkel announces a special guest referee. Turns out that it's Jerry the King Lawler all along. He pulled the ruse this time. He pulled the ruse.
He learned his lesson, didn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely learned his lesson from Bret the Hitman.
He learned something from Bret Hart, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Bret's fucked off down south now. Can I do the ruse gimmick?
Yeah. I've had a word backstage. Nobody's doing this. Can I do it now?
Yeah, is that okay? Please let me do it. Yes, sound. I mean, Head is massively over. I think we underestimate how much 18 to 34-year-old men want to chant Head, but they absolutely chant for Head constantly during this whole segment.
Yeah.
What does everybody want? Head. What does everybody need? Head. That's it. Just Head. Absolute Head. One of the best comments from JR on commentary in this match is when Al Snow finally does go for a cover, and Jerry the King Lawler is, you know, potentially the slowest count in the history of refereeing. JR goes, Mr. McMahon's Referee Academy, based on some of Vince McMahon's special guest refereeing appearances in 1998.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a 3-on-1 handicap match, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit biased. It's a bit one-sided. But if a mannequin Head can't pull it off, then who can?
That's very true.
Backs against the wall, you know.
Instead of pulling it off, though, what they do is pull it on. Halfway through towards the end of this match, you know, Al Snow's just in there whacking people with Head, left, right, and centre. He's all over Scotty Taylor, and then the King just fucks off like he's forgot something. I'm just like, where's he coming? Like for a drink or something? Like I was dead confused. I was dead confused on where he was going. Then all of a sudden he chucked something to Brian Christopher, while Al Snow hits the snow plough on Taylor. And Brian Christopher, lo and behold, has got a bottle of Head and Shoulders and he is attaching it to the head, and he holds his shoulders down while Al Snow's pinning Scott Taylor, and King obviously counts to 3, but Al Snow thinks he's won. And spoiler alert, he hasn't won. He hasn't won anything.
Can I just say, what an absolute genius idea. Whoever planned that match, whoever thought of that spot is an absolute genius. How can you pin a head? You're supposed to put shoulders to the mat. That's the law. That's the rules. So what can we do? Let's put some shoulders on him. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I mean, yeah, sort of. You're
not a fan then, Rob?
No, I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. Like, I get you. I get where you're coming from. I'm not going to shoot.
Well, you're wrong, because I'll give this match 5 stars. So you're wrong.
Well, Big Dave give it -2 stars.
Fuck off.
He give it -2 stars, brother. That's how it is.
Fuck.
I swear to you, I'm not blagging you. We had a -0.5 stars with The Rock versus Dan Severn, and then he's gone a step further here, and he's -2 stars this one.
Fuck Dave.
I don't know when he started minusing matches. Obviously, on the Botchamania intro, you hear that -5 stars. You know, when you go into Botchamania, and I've never really got it until now.
Yeah.
Because now I'm seeing -2 stars. I can't wait to come across a -5 stars match. I mean, I've committed to a 0-star rating. I don't want to go further than that. That's a bit out of order. But this is where I'm going.
What do you have to do to get a -5 star match? It's got to be the fucking absolute pizza, ain't it? What can you do to get that? I don't get it.
It has really got to be bad, hasn't it? It's really, really got to be bad. Like, I mean...
What, like a Nia Jax match, or...
I mean, fucking hell, shooting from the hip today. I love it. This is a great second recording at the King of the Ring 98. Nia Jax is fucking awful since she's come back. Just stick to being a plus-size model on Instagram. You're doing fine at that.
Yeah.
You step in the ring, you start hurting people. Just fuck off. No one wants it. We don't care that you're The Rock's cousin, Nia. We don't care. You know, you throw it in our face enough.
I think it's the fact that this, like, just putting people in danger that gets me. Like, that's your first rule. Keep people safe, man. Do you know what I mean? That's
absolutely.
That's what it's all down to. So, yeah.
-2 stars. This, unfortunately, I haven't got much to pick from on this card in terms of bad matches, and it was between this one and another match that's coming up a little bit later. But this one gets it. This gets the 0 stars rating from me.
Okay, that's far away from our 5 stars then.
Please tell me the truth. I'll can this before it's even started. And I've invested in a goddamn microphone. And I'll can the thing.
No, I get it 1.5.
1.5.
I just like the concept of it. Like it's one thing that I'll always remember, and it'll be it's not a great match, it's not fantastic, but just the pure like silliness of it, and you know the betrayal and the
Thankfully, it won't be what Brian Christopher's remembered for.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree with that. That's the saviour there, isn't it? Really. Although it was funny. It was like I laughed. I was like, "That's clever, that is." But at the same time, JR made no secret on announcing, on commentary, and on the podcast that he does with Conrad, Grilling JR, it's called, just in case you didn't know. Literally, he shot to shit on this match and the creative that booked it. Now, he didn't really name the creative that booked it, but I can only assume it was Vince Russo.
He was around at this time, yeah. I'd have thought. Or did he leave in late '97? Was he? I don't know if he was. Was he still at the company at this point?
I think he was still there. He was still there for. I think he was still there up until '99. Because.
Oh, was he?
Beyond the Mat, I'm thinking back to that documentary, and The Rock and Mankind. I Quit at the Rumble '99's on there, and I can place Vince Russo's face there. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I think
it's
he might have been there. Yeah, it's definitely his fault.
Vince Russo.
Fuck that guy. So anyway, JR shoots on it loads. Let's move on. It doesn't need any more of our time. Next up, though, we do have some great wrestlers. We have X-Pac taking on Owen Hart, which, believe it or not, happened at the 1994 King of the Ring when the 1-2-3 Kid took on Owen Hart. Mart.
Yeah. These two guys are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So athletic, good, good with the facial gestures and telling a story. Amazing.
Yeah, dead good. Owen Hart in the 94 King of the Ring went all the way, as we mentioned earlier, on the first recording that we did. That I definitely don't remember who else won King of the Rings at this point, but it's absolutely fine. It's a solid little encounter here, isn't it? Really, middle of the card.
Yeah, they got obviously got the I think they run the national in this match, and it's a good it's a good match. I really like it. There's a few spinning wheel kicks and calf kicks and Bronco busters. There's one part though, he done a Bronco buster and he wasn't even touching him. I'm like, fucking hell, Sean.
Yeah.
Fucking sort yourself out.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to be fucking messaging you again on fucking Instagram.
At what point, there was a couple of times I realised in this card that people's finisher, who I associate there, that's their finisher. So X-Pac, for example, hit the X Factor. Now, no one called it the X Factor, and JR just sort of went, "Oh, what a move!" Like, "Oh, that was dead good," but they didn't. They didn't put it over like that could have been the end of the match. And X-Pac didn't even go for a cover after it. So this, at the time, wasn't his finisher, which is worrying because if the Bronco Buster was, then fuck me, that was an awful finish, wasn't it?
I don't know what his finisher would have been. Yeah, I don't think he had anything else, did he really? That was his signature and his finisher. That's as far as I can.
It's got to have been it. I mean, X-Pac had come back from a stint in WCW, didn't he? And he was with DX. Owen was with the Nation of Domination. They both cost each other King of the Ring places. So Owen cost X-Pac King of the Ring against Triple H, caused the count-out victory. And then, did you see that chair shot from X-Pac to Owen Hart in the video package leading up to it?
No.
Oh, you need to see it. You need to see it. Like, you need to see how he cracked him on the back of the head. Like, no holding back. Just really? Literally smashed him. Yeah, I think he needed seven staples, I believe Owen Hart needed at the back of that chair shot.
Crazy, absolutely crazy.
Also, what did you think of the X-Pac DX music?
What? Yeah, I think he had the same. It was the same single, wasn't it? The same band who done it. But he's just like.
But he had like a rapper. I don't know if it was like LL Cool J or someone. It sounded like him.
I loved his music because it was DX, but it wasn't DX. It was his own. It was his own music. It was his own person. I loved it.
Yeah,
absolutely loved it. I'm just watching the chair shot now. Fucking hell. I think it's supposed to be a back shot.
Yeah.
On his back, fucking caught him with like the top of the chair on the back of the head.
Yeah, absolutely nailed him.
Fucking hell, Sean.
We got a batch. Fantastic. I mean, JR in this match, he's still salty about the previous match. But at least he's not Vince McMahon in your house mentioning Mabel's kick compared to Owen's kick. And like you've said, Owen and X-Pac deliver a couple of spinning heel kicks in this match, and they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Chyna's made her fourth appearance of the night.
She was on a roll here, wasn't she?
Fuck you know. She come out in I think she tries to make herself different, later on in the, I think
she does.
Does she come out with somebody else? She comes with the glasses and the cap on.
Yeah.
With X-Pac, she just got nothing on, just her outfit.
Yeah. She adds a layer each time she appears.
Yeah, it's I'm going to be different this time, so people don't realise that I'm out all this time. Crazy. But
That's
like
it.
Xbox Pro Rose, and he's like, suck it with the X's going across.
Yeah.
Wicked, man. Absolutely wicked.
Dead good entrance. What about the bit when X-Pac gets thrown into the timekeeper's table? Absolutely annihilates that area. How Howard Finkel got out the way is still beyond me to this day.
And as well, like, we talk about buckling like a bitch, and like, these big guys not taking buckles properly.
Yeah.
Them are big guys, man. Them on fucking, they do the neck exercise and shoulder. They can take a fucking buckle. You know what I mean? These two, like, probably some of the smallest guys in the WWF at the time.
And
you watch the bucklings they do.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Absolutely, like, fucking make it. I'm sure they made the ring move.
Absolutely fucking moving.
Do you know what I mean? That's how you take a buckle, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
If you've been whipped, if another person is fucking throwing you into a fucking, an immovable object, do you know what I mean?
You got to take it.
Fuck Dan Severn.
Fuck Dan Severn. That could be the hashtag for this show, I think. Just the full force of him being thrown into that timekeeper's area was just, I was like, fuck, he's hurt. There's no way he's not hurt. And then they went over to the Spanish announce table, and Owen sort of froze him on it. And Jack Doan, who is the ref here, quickly moves over to him. Now, I've only just realised, obviously, we know what's coming a little bit later in the Hell in a Cell match that involves the Spanish announce table. But it only sort of clicks to me when I've watched it back that actually Jack Doan's like, don't fuck that table up because we need that for later. We ain't got time to rebuild it. And it almost feels that's what he's saying to him.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck off from this table. We need this for a fucking main event. Fuck off.
Yeah, we need that for a big spot later on in the match. Well, the night, even, the card. There was a top rope spot that didn't go too well in this one. Mark Henry finally tries to interfere. He does interfere, but the ref doesn't see it. Then China and Mark Henry sort of square off. And I found this quite interesting because when you skip forward to the 99 Royal Rumble, China eliminates Mark Henry, doesn't she? So she's the first woman to go into a Royal Rumble and eliminates the world's strongest man inside that Rumble. So this is nice to see where the rivalry sort of comes from, if you like.
Yeah.
To that point.
Did Mark Henry have some sort of like... wasn't he like attracted to China at some point? Wasn't he like trying to like serenade her or?
I mean,
sexual chocolate was trying
exactly. Who hasn't sexual chocolate tried to get with? Do you know what I'm saying?
Didn't he get Mae Young pregnant at one point as well?
Absolutely, yes, he did. And they give birth. They give birth to a hand on live television. Fantastic.
Fuck you. I
hope Vince Russo booked that as well.
Probably did.
It's better than a Judy Bagwell on a pole match, isn't it? So.
No, Judy Bagwell on a forklift, wasn't it?
Oh, that's it.
She was standing on a pallet.
Sorry, it was like pinata on a pole matches and stuff like that he was into, wasn't he?
Fuck you know.
The one with the 4 boxes, that was always the weirdest one, I think, that I remember.
Yeah.
And the belt fell out.
Booker T's first championship win, and it's like a fucking moment to savour. Something you'll take pictures of and show your kids. And he's got fucking the belt dropped out the fucking bottom of the box. Like, what the fuck? It's almost worse than a fucking crowbar on the fucking pole and it falling off.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is some salty shit, that is. I'll just say, if anyone ever sees a match involving me with a crowbar and a pole match, just have it be said, and have it be said here, that I petitioned to have a real fucking crowbar put up there, not some paper mache shit. That, you know, someone's dad, grateful of it, very grateful of it, but I didn't ask for it. I wanted a real crowbar up there. I'm just saying. I got hit with a paper mache crowbar and I had to sell it like I'd just been stabbed.
That dad was fucking laughing his arse off, wasn't he? Okay, no.
Yeah, down in the front, like. Yeah, it ruined it for that table. That table,
Yeah.
the magic had gone for them.
The magic had gone.
It turned into a comedy show for them, and we were the main event that night. So just remember that, guys. Anyway, we're here to talk about the World Wrestling Federation and the King of the Ring in 1998. We're currently talking X-Pac versus Owen Hart. We've just got to Mark Henry and China squaring off outside. It turns out that Mark Henry's going to get a huge clattering in just a second of big bad Vader. And Vader takes his fucking self out, doesn't he, as well?
Yes. Like Vader, as we mentioned, he don't fuck about.
He does
don't
not.
Fuck about at
he
all.
Does not. Not at all. So once Vader and Mark Henry are at it, all of a sudden what you get is Owen Hart has got X-Pac in the sharpshooter, and then China just bosses in there because the referee's distracted with Vader and Mark Henry. China drops the DDT on Owen Hart, and I don't know what the crack is here, but it seems to take a bit of a lifetime for X-Pac to reach over to Owen. It almost feels like, you know, when Triple H did it to Booker T at WrestleMania that one year, when he pedigreed him and then pinned him about 20 seconds later. It almost felt like this, and you know, that was the finish. This was the 3 count. So China's DDT, one of the stronger than Jake the Snake Roberts, because he's been down for like 30 seconds.
Well, about Jake the Snake Roberts was just sitting there just thinking, fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like this move that I've like made a career out of and like made a force to be reckoned with. There's just been planted, nothing special about it, and then basically he could have pinned him for a fucking 15 count. It took him 15 fucking seconds to roll over.
Yeah, he really did.
Like I said, it took a lifetime. Like I said, it's a bit of the same as what happened with Triple H and Booker T. Rumor has it there's a bit of shooting going on there, and a bit of you know, Triple H not liking the situation, blah blah blah, just taking matter into his own hands. But it was a DDT and he pinned him. It was nothing special. I wanted to see something a bit more, considering what the match was. It was a good finish. It got a good pop. But, meh.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
So, how many stars do you give this one?
Well, it's better than the last match.
It was definitely better than the last match.
So I'll give it 2.5. I think it was a good match, purely because of the technicality. I love Owen Hart. I love X-Pac. You know, just the chemistry they had. I think it was a really good chemistry. You know, they didn't fuck anything up, and it was really high flying. It was, you know, fast paced, and that's what I like.
Okay. Big Dave, give it 2.25 stars. I've gone with you, Mart. I've give it 2.5 as well. Interesting match between two great characters and two great wrestlers that we remember to this day, that's for sure. We go from that match into another strangely placed promo for me. Paul Bearer makes his way to the ring to cut a promo about how Kane has, you know, watched superstars back in 91 or something like that, watching his big brother, The Undertaker. That was more brother love, wasn't it? If I'm honest.
I don't care, it was class.
Okay, that'll do. I'll take that. I don't know, he feels out of place again. It feels like the Vince McMahon promo. It feels like it belonged on Raw. He just, you know, put it in the free-for-all. Don't do it here. Just, what are you doing on pay-per-view for? It don't make any sense.
I think it's because there's 9 matches, and I think Vince McMahon's just worried that the 2 main events are going to get lost.
Yeah.
You know, just to remind people of what's coming up, and you know, there's like I say, there's 7 matches before the 2 big ones. So maybe it's just to say, you know, this is what you've got to look forward to and keep it going. I don't know. But why put fucking 9 matches on? I don't know. Just take 2 matches out.
Yeah, well, they added 2 matches though, didn't they? That's the thing.
Yeah.
They added two bonus matches, as was mentioned at the beginning of the show, because that was one of them. The next one's pretty much coming up next, which is a strange one, which we'll get to in a minute. But 2 bonus matches added, and realistically, the lengths of some of these matches are quite short, which I've just realised I've definitely not been giving people the lengths of the matches for the last 2 that we've called. And the reason for that is I've not made a note of them. I kept it up on a separate page last time, and I was just flicking through. So, spoiler alert! I'll just get that back up. We're having all the technical difficulties tonight, and I love it. This episode is sponsored by technical difficulties.
It's definitely not sponsored by Virgin Media.
Oh well, if we were sponsored by Virgin Media, we'd be in the shit. Yeah,
Fuck
some of the.
not our big rich.
I know.
Not that one.
I know, but that's what makes it so funny.
I just realised what I said when I said it. Not that rich. Not you. Not you, Rich. If you're watching, not you. Not you.
That's what makes it so funny, is the fact that you just said "fuck Big Rich," and I'm like, "Oh shit, not Richard Branson, Big Richard Rich Branson. From wrestling." That's who's popped into
Richard Branson.
Yeah, fuck you, Richard Branson, and your private island. Anyway, moving on swiftly. The matches have been quite short, but like I said, they added 2 matches in to the card, so maybe they were just trying to fill time to get anywhere near the 2 hours 43 minutes that this event turns out to be.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the Paul Bearer promo?
I thought he was dead good, to be fair. You know, Paul Bearer is a really good character. He's for the Undertaker's mystique, and then obviously he went to obviously in Kane's corner at some point as well. Obviously sadly he's passed away now, but
yeah.
But he made it into Hall of Fame, and quite rightly so.
Absolutely, quite rightly so. And it was a very big year when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, wasn't it? Because, I mean, thankfully his sons sort of signed off on it. But CM Punk and Paul Heyman really took advantage of Paul Bearer passing away to involve the storyline and revolve it around the Undertaker getting revenge for Paul Bearer, which turned out probably to be the I'd say one of the better matches on WrestleMania 29.
I'd agree.
This was Rock versus Cena 2. Famously, what people don't remember is The Rock tore his quad or tore something within 6 minutes of the match and had 40 minutes to carry on. And he did, which live, you didn't know that, so you were just shouting at the telly going, Rock looks a bit shit here, doesn't
he? Exactly.
But I take it all back, DJ. And the reason that I call him DJ is I've started watching Titan on Netflix, which is Dwayne The Rock Johnson's "Fuck You" to Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch. He's gone, I've got NBC, I've got more budget, I'm going to make this shit fucking like the Gladiators on steroids. And that's exactly what it is, so check it out. The unfortunate thing is all the presenters call him DJ. Fuming. It's not even funny. I don't like it. Them calling him DJ get 0 stars as well.
Fuck the presenters.
Fuck the presenters. Fuck Golden Balls or whatever his name is. Golden Boy. He's on commentary. Who cares? You're all right. You're doing a good job. So we move on from Paul Bearer, and then it's the moment we've all been waiting for. I've been waiting to do this a long time. You ready? Oh, you didn't know? Down and down, down. Your ass better call somebody. Boom, 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 boom. Love it. Road Dogg Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, the New Age Outlaws are probably my favourite tag team of all time.
Really? That's a strong statement.
It is.
Strong statement. The New Age Outlaws, your favourite tag team in history. And they are multiple time tag team champions. I can't think the exact amount of times off the top of my head, but they're up there.
But all you got to think about is, though, think of a time when you haven't seen the New Age Outlaws without a tag team belt around the waist.
Very true.
If you think about that belt, that old WWF tag team belt of this era,
they had it majority of the time in this.
I associate it with,
didn't they?
yeah, I associate it with that tag team. Very rare they didn't have a tag team belt.
See, the thing is, the problem with that is that classic tag team championship belt design that you're talking about stems probably from the 80s into the early 90s and then even into the late 90s. So you've got a lot of tag teams to think about there. Demolition are in that. Obviously, longest reigning tag team champions in history up until the New Day broke that record in recent memory. But then you've also got the Hart Foundation, who held the tag team titles, the Legion of Doom, the Nasty Boys, the Smoking Guns, and of course Owen Hart and Yokozuna. So you got a lot of strong competition there, Mart.
Fuck all them.
And it's as simple as that. And that is Mart's opinion on Hot Tag Reviews. And do you know what? He's fucking entitled to it. It's as simple as that. So we get this second bonus match of the night, and it's for the WWF Tag Team Championships. And the only reason I'm emphasising the fact that it's for the WWF Tag Team Championships is because their opponents are the NWA Tag Team Champions. And this is a mouthful. You've got Bodacious Bart, Bombastic Bob, accompanied with Jim Cornette. This is the new Midnight Express. So this is Bart Gunn and Bob Holly with gimmick names.
Put them in the bin.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I don't know, Midnight Express is fucking what a legendary stable. What a name. What the fuck? I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on. Fucking bombastic fucking Bob.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to sit here and go Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart, or I'm probably getting them the wrong way around. And do you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? It's like, Hardcore Holly, like Bob Holly, what a mean son of a bitch. He's got a reputation for, shooting on a few trainees, and there's been like a bit of a thing about that before, for being like a bit of a, bit of a hard knock.
Yeah.
And I've met him. I've met Hardcore Holly.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking beast. He's an absolute beast.
Mm.
Ripped to shreds in his old age.
Yeah.
He's going through gimmick changes here, like the fucking 301 to fucking Warsaw. Yeah, here you are. Spark. Are you a race car driver? Oh, yeah, okay, there you go. What the fuck?
Oh, he finally got there in the end when he became Hardcore Holly. And then he got a broken neck, of course, courtesy of Brock Lesnar, so that went well for him. Jim Corderas is the ref for this one. Jim Cornette is very quiet throughout this match, for good reason, I think, because he's involved heavily towards the finish. I was just quite surprised that he wasn't as mouthy, he wasn't as involved in the match at the beginning and throughout, which is what I've become used to with Jim Cornette at ringside, especially in a tag team match.
Yeah,
China.
Jim Cornette.
Yeah, he's something, that is for sure. He's one mouthy son of a bitch. China's got bandana and shades on. She changes her appearance up here as well.
There you go.
Just fantastic. The one thing that popped me a little bit in this match is when it was brother versus brother, so to speak. So Billy and Bart are in the ring. The King states that they have different mothers. And JR goes, "No, I don't think that's right." We get a famous out of nowhere, and this is what I was saying about, that's Billy Gunn's finish. That is Mr. Ass's finish. His finish is the famouser. So he hits it here and nothing happens. It's like, oh, that was a move. They don't call it the famouser. It just sort of happens mid-match.
A year later, if I can remember right, he won the King of the Ring by doing was it a second rope or a top rope famouser?
Yeah.
So he actually won the King of the Ring like the next year.
Yeah.
So he's gone from like using a bit of a spot famouser on a spot to winning the King of the Ring with it essentially.
Definitely.
Same with X-Pac.
Yeah, same with X-Pac, and it just shows that this is still the early stages of developing their full characters. X-Pac and Mr. Ass, for example, and even Road Dogg, to be fair. And there are probably the New Age Outlaws are probably about a year into this run as the New Age Outlaws, and X-Pac come back the night after WrestleMania, which was April, so probably a couple of months into this new X-Pac character. But he was playing Six-Pac, wasn't he? In WCW, that was his character there, and it's a very similar character. They've just changed the name, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely a shift of attitude when he went to WCW, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
The big boys were looking after him, weren't they? Hall and Nash.
Yeah.
We got you,
what
kid.
he's like in that locker room. Yeah.
We got you, kid. Fuck Flair. Fuck Flair.
Yeah. Do you want the world title? Yeah, okay. I'll sign it.
Just stick with me, kid, and you'll go far. That's funny.
You want to beat Goldberg? Yeah? Sound. That's all.
Yeah. You want to beat his streak? With a finger poke of doom? We can make that happen. So like I said, Cornette finally gets involved with the tennis racket, of course. But Billy kicks out. He quickly breaks down and becomes very, very messy towards the end. Cornette is caught on the second one, so he goes for another tennis racket. No, he's got the belt this time. He goes for a belt shot. China sneaks in behind, gives him the old fuck you to the bollocks. Cornette sells it like a motherfucker. And then we get sort of like a double hot shot for a finish as Billy and Road Dogg retain their titles.
I put on that as well. I thought that was the best finish of the night, to be fair.
Really? Up until this point, or are we saying overall now? Because we've still got 2 matches to go.
So far.
So far. Sorry, we've got 3 matches to go. I do apologise. I nearly missed the King of the Ring final. That prestigious King of the Ring. So this goes 9 minutes, 34 seconds. My internet connection is unstable as it pops up on the screen. And Big Dave gives it 1.5 stars. What do you rate it, Mart?
I'll put it as 2 stars.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'll give it 2 stars too. I'm feeling generous. Maybe it's the Jack Daniels and Coke talking. I don't know. We'll give it 2 stars for the greatest tag team to ever hold those style tag team championships. According to Martin,
I'm glad you're on the same wavelength as me.
I'm not on the same wavelength as you, but I'll just put you over for this point. So we're then presented with the King of the Ring brackets for the final time in the evening because we are heading for the King of the Ring final. It is a rivalry that has been going on all the way through 1998 with the 2 competitors, mainly battling for the Intercontinental Championship, mainly at the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. But here we are for the King of the Ring this time. But before we get to them, Triple H is introduced as a guest commentator. And guess who's with him again?
China.
Bing, 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 bing. Correct, China.
I thought so.
You were right.
I couldn't recognise her because I think she had another wardrobe change, or she added another accessory or something.
Definitely some sort of change. She definitely freshened it up again. So Triple H is actually
She might as well just fucking stay outside. Just stay ringside. Fucking hell.
Instead of going back with them and then coming back out with the next one. Like
Exactly.
this is 3 DX back-to-back segments as well, really, which is just mental when you think about it.
Just go and fucking take a seat ringside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go and sit next to JR. Not the King, he might touch you.
Yeah. He loves puppies.
He does love puppies, and China had brand new puppies this year, that's for sure.
Yep.
So, like I say, it's King of the Ring final. You've got Triple H, who is last year's King of the Ring, the 1997 King of the Ring. They take a shot at Bret Hart here. As they mentioned, the previous winners, apart from Bret and Mabel, for obvious reasons. But they talk about how, you know, it sort of lifts a wrestler's career within the business. And they talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin's 2 years later. He's obviously white hot, top of his game. He's the WWF champion. And they talk about Owen Hart, who was in the match earlier with X-Pac. And then they're talking to Triple H and asking him how he's found, you know, that platform of being King of the Ring. And obviously that has helped him alongside being with Shawn Michaels' D-Generation X. And now he's the personified leader of DX, isn't he? He's now, you know, the COO, is he? Or is he a different role recently? Something about a demotion or a job role change of sorts. Who knows? So we got Ken Shamrock versus The Rock for the 1998 King of the Ring. As I've said, they have history through 1998. So Shamrock and The Rock, they're in the ring. It's the King of the Ring final. Mike Chioda's the referee. Shamrock and The Rock are really, really looking intense here. They're looking at each other. They're staring each other down. And it almost feels like it's an early Rock WrestleMania-esque moment when he's across the ring from the likes of Hulk Hogan, Austin, John Cena, and it's almost like a stare down of sorts before they're about to do battle. Really got me hyped for the match, to be honest. It did wonders for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so I think if you go, like, you know, Shamrock's intense. He's very, very intense. With, you know, he doesn't look at anybody in the audience. I think what The Rock's trying to do is just, you know, match that intensity, and, you know, The Rock's coming into his own as well. He's developing his own character, and he's finally becoming like what he is and what people know of him. So yeah, it was definitely gets you like on the edge of your seat, thinking, oh, okay, are they going to, you know, they're going to go for it?
Yeah, and they definitely did go for it. I mean, I think full credit is due to The Rock in this one. He carries Ken Shamrock's ass all the way through this match. Literally, you see him calling spot after spot. He's putting him in the chin lock every single opportunity he gets so he can call the next one. He just takes full control of this match, and that it says a lot, really. It says a lot. The Rock was fully invested in the role as a professional wrestler, if you like. And he listened, and you know, there was no botches that I sort of picked up on in this one. It sort of went smoothly. Right. So again, all credit goes to The Rock, I think, for calling this one to Shamrock in the ring. China is hilarious. She's on the Spanish announce table. Triple H says something about being bi. Then he says, wait, did I mean to say that? JR just rolls it off and says, I don't think you did, but we're live, pal.
Class.
China's there, and the Spanish announcers, Hugo Sabanovich and Carlos Cabrera, are sort of talking in Spanish to her, and she just comes back in definitely not Spanish. I'll be really surprised if it's Spanish, but she starts jibber jabbering. Let's just put it like that, and it just looks hilarious. It just looks amazing.
Obviously, like, China's like really manly at this point, isn't she? Like, it wasn't until like the year later where she, I don't know what happened, well, like the surgery or but she had a real masculine, like, she was big. She was obviously a bodybuilder anyway, but she had a very masculine, like face and stuff, didn't she? And then all of a sudden, she changed when she was becoming, started being a wrestler and doing singles herself.
Yeah,
done some good construction work.
100%. She must have had some work done. It's as simple as that, because her jawline was tucked in about 10 inches. Bit of an over-exaggeration, but, that got her into Playboy. So,
yeah, it's
weird how you sort of, at this time, you know that Triple H and Chyna are still sort of seeing each other behind the scenes in 1998. However, the way that Chyna carried X-Pac backstage, you were sort of thinking, oh, maybe he's had more than just one night in China. So anyway, The Rock goes over to Triple H while he's on commentary. Triple H makes a remark about The Rock's hair, and he calls him Fuzzy Top, and then he spits water straight in his face. The Rock then shoves him, which provokes the ref to break them up. Shamrock comes to get him, and Shamrock looks absolutely exhausted. And this is probably 5 minutes out before the finish, I'd say. We see a people's elbow in the match, but it's just a poor cover on the back of it. But he's really putting Shamrock over as a never give up sort of baby face, if you like. And Shamrock makes a really well-timed comeback, and then we start to see some energy from Shamrock. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, it goes from The Rock taking back over, and then The Rock just getting ankle locked out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, I did put that. Obviously, the comeback is absolutely brilliant by Shamrock. It was full of pace. It was full of intensity. The Rock was selling it like he's selling it absolutely brilliantly. But then, like you said, it was just like massive comeback, and then bang, there you go, out of nowhere.
Literally out of nowhere. I mean, I know he beat Jeff Jarrett earlier in the night with a really, it was two moves, wasn't it? It was that Hurricanrana and then straight into the ankle lock.
Yeah.
Well, this was one move. This was, right, I've got you, bye. And The Rock sells and sells. He's trying to hold on to Mike Chioda. He's pulling at him and he's going, no. And it's great. It's great to watch. And he holds on forever and a day. And then eventually he taps out. And Ken Shamrock, ladies and gentlemen, was crowned the 1998 King of the Ring.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was good. It was good at the time. He had he had a run with Blackman after this, Steve Blackman, and he did push him. To be fair, it's maybe because of this that I remember Ken Shamrock, and he stands out to me. There's nothing else. He won, when the IC title, didn't the Intercontinental title. He had that a few times. There's nothing else really he did apart from winning the King of the Ring, to be honest.
No, not at all. And that was going to be my question, really, based on the previous King of the Ring winners, bar Mabel. They all, to me, Owen Hart never won a world title, but he never really got the opportunity. As we know, he passed away sadly in 1999.
Yeah.
The rest of them, up to this point, had gone on to win world championships. Triple H is now a 14-time world champion, I'm going to say. Maybe 13, 14. He's up there anyway. I know he was pushing on towards Ric Flair's record, as is obviously John Cena. John Cena's level with him, isn't he? But this, for me, is probably another one of those. He should have been the other guy. Yeah.
No, I agree. Because there's nothing more that Shamrock done. He didn't do anything afterwards. There wasn't a big push. Didn't he do something with corporation or something like? Or he was like the corporations, like
he was in the corporate ministry. He was definitely a part of them because he was involved at the toilet attack on Stone Cold Steve Austin in the '99 Rumble. So he was definitely a part of the corporate ministry. He was involved with Vince McMahon's side more than the Undertaker's side, I believe. But he didn't really do a lot, did he?
No, definitely not.
So we know the match ends with Shamrock presented as the King of the Ring. Now, interestingly, this is the first year where they don't present the cloak and gown and scepter and the crown. So none of the formal presentation for the King of the Ring is done. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because it's the Attitude Era, isn't it? They want to get away from all that gimmicky. It's all about being more focused on that demographic of 18 to 34s.
Yeah.
They don't want to see that shit.
No.
They want to see blood and beatings and fire and cages and metal. That's what they want to see. They want to see that.
Yeah, because even Austin went up to the throne and he never sat in it, did he? He just sort of stood there. Doc Hendricks come over and...
Imagine having Stone Cold sitting there in a fucking, cloak and fucking King of the Ring crown. You just wouldn't... It'd have daunted his career forever. Yeah,
it wouldn't have gone... It wouldn't have gone well compared to the promo that started it all, really, in terms of the Austin 316 era. So definitely the right decision not to put the crown and all of the other gimmicks that come along with it on.
Exactly.
From 1996. I'm sure in 97 Triple H did put it on. I'm sure he had the cloak and I'm sure he had the crown and I'm sure he had the scepter. He probably didn't have it for long, but I'm pretty positive he was presented with it. Whereas there was no setup for it at the ringside or the entranceway as such. It just wasn't part of the presentation this year.
No. It was more, like I say, it's the Attitude Era. They want to get away from all that shit. So I think that's just the said.
Again, it's the right decision because you got the world's, dangerous man, as Ken was referred to as. So it is the right decision all round. It was just a surprise that they didn't even attempt to present it with him. I think it would have been funny if Michael Cole, brought the stuff in the ring. Because he interviewed previously after the semi-finals. He interviewed The Rock, he interviewed Ken Shamrock, and then it would have been interesting for Michael to get in the ring with a microphone ready to present him with everything. And Ken Shamrock, obviously being the guy that he is, just snaps and belly to belly's Michael Cole and puts him in the ankle lock. That would have been just as good as when DX wedged him.
I agree.
One of his career highlights. So this one goes 14 minutes and 9 seconds, the longest match on the card so far. Big Dave gives it 3.25 stars. What did you think?
I thought it was 2.5.
I think if The Rock had won, with the prestige that The Rock now holds within the wrestling industry, then you probably would look back and go, actually, that was the right call. And you probably would have give it closer to 3 stars, if not a little bit more. But you're right, because Shamrock goes over. And although that feels like the right decision at the time, because that's sort of like his revenge for not winning at Mania, for not winning at the Royal Rumble when he did win. But, ultimately the decision was reversed based on his behaviour. Or based on The Rock's cheating shenanigans. So when it comes to this one, he actually gets a clean victory over The Rock. It feels like, right, that's the end of them. That puts an end on their storyline. But what should happen is Shamrock should then be pushed for the championship because, we've got that feeling that, really the King of the Ring winner should be going towards SummerSlam to get a title match. And that just doesn't happen. For good reason as well. The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin at SummerSlam in the main event was definitely going to be the draw at Madison Square Garden compared to Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, exactly.
So, bit of a wrong decision, but bit of a right decision at the same time. So, hard to sort of justify anything else.
No,
but this is where it gets exciting. We're going to talk about it, Mark.
What? Mabel's 95 run, or?
You know, we're going to have to sit down one day and actually do a whole year on someone. And
Yeah.
I think Mabel should be the first person that we start with.
I agree.
However, that does involve a lot of watching and a lot of reading. So maybe that's a project on the card one day. Maybe. We'll see what happens. We're going to talk about the double main event, and we're going to start with the first main event of the evening. This is the second ever Hell in a Cell match, but it is probably the most remembered Hell in a Cell match in the history of Hell in a Cell matches. Yeah.
And like I say, The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels went at it in the first one. The Shawn Michaels hanging off the side and fell through the announcer's table. But nobody really remembers that, really. It's always, this is, if you say Hell in a Cell, this is what people, or should remember anyway. This is the one match they should remember.
Yeah, the two things that you instantly remember about Hell in a Cell when you talk about Hell in a Cell is, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. That was match one, but ultimately it was Kane's debut. And then two, it's this one, and for very, very good reason. When I watched it back, I had goosebumps. I had absolute goosebumps watching this one back.
It's not even like, it's weird. It's not even a match, is it really? There's no structure to it. Whether that was the plan originally or what happened, obviously, at the very start of the match changed the whole fucking layout of everything. I don't know, but it's not actually a match. It is. It's not like nowadays. And, I think I watched the last Hell in a Cell match I watched was, I think it was the women in WWE at the last Hell in a Cell. Everything's all safe now. It's all health and safety, and don't do too much. That's what the impression I get anyway. Whereas back in the day, 1998, there was no limits. There was no fucking health and safety, because half the shit it wasn't even supposed to happen. Do you know what I mean? So there's no structure. So this is the definitive, this is the definition of Hell in a Cell. This is what it should be. Yeah. Not just a match inside of Hell in a Cell, which is now. They made a whole pay-per-view about Hell in a Cell. It's not about that. It's not a match of it's raw. It's brutal. It is. And these made it brutal.
They did. They took it to the very next level in this one. If Hell in a Cell won, the first ever one with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, was anything to go by, with Shawn Michaels looking like an absolute bloodbath. Chyna's crying on the way out of that arena, carrying Shawn Michaels to the back. A, because she knows he's fucked up and drugged up on painkillers to the max just to get him to the ring. And then B, he's gone. His eyes are not there. He's physically there, but mentally he's far away after that Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker. Either that or it was a very good sell job. And I find it very hard to believe that even though he's the greatest of all time to an extent, in some people's opinions, there's no way that was a sell job, especially to make Chyna cry.
No, I agree. He was gone. He was a goner, wasn't he? He was. I think everything just come into the fold, and it was just the straw that brought the camels back with that match. To be fair, and like you say, that's and Mick Foley's obviously talked about. I'm a big Mick Foley fan, as we've already mentioned previously. Like he's
thankfully,
mentioned
this is
before.
a better match than last time, Mark.
It is, thankfully. But he's always obviously mentioned in books and programs and stuff and interviews that obviously he was worried because he didn't want to. He didn't, he had to live up. He had to exceed the previous Hell in a Cell match. He was, probably one of the greatest hardcore legends of all time, was worried about a brutal match because he didn't think he could live up to the standards. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the reason why he obviously started the way he did.
And the way he started was heading to the ring with a steel chair in his hand, which he immediately throws up to the top of the cage, or the cell, if you like, and climbs up.
Mm-hmm.
So the anticipation for me is building straight away. You know, Mankind's music stops, and we're about to hear the famous gong. The lights go down. Enter the Undertaker, not the Sandman. Enter the Undertaker
with a broken foot.
With a broken fucking foot.
Yeah.
And wow.
Not many people know that. Well, they should know that if they're into wrestling and they know the crack with it. But Undertaker had fucking bandaged up. I don't know if he broke his foot or his ankle, but like he was fucked. It was, you know, his leg, his ankle had gone.
Yeah, they should definitely know that now more so than ever. With the news coming out that potentially on the back of Chapter 5 of The Last Ride, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, it looks like The Undertaker is prepared to walk away from the wrestling ring based on his last match that he's had with AJ Styles at WrestleMania 36 in the Boneyard match. Thank you, Undertaker, for everything that you've given us throughout your career. Mean Mark Callis. Good old Mean Mark, Ginger, big Mean Mark class into the dead man, an absolute legend that you'll never be forgotten. Don't think you'll have to get back in the ring to please us, Marks. You've done more than enough in this one match alone, never mind the rest of your career.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Broken foot and all, he heads to the ring. It's dark. Mankind is on the top of the cell. He's in his shirt rather than his gear, and his tie. He's newer persona, if you like. And yeah, the Undertaker just looks up at that cell, and he goes, "Yeah, okay, you want to go? Let's go." And he climbs up, and we get started. And it's not long before we're all holding our breath. That is for sure.
As well with the cell, like nowadays with the Hell in the Cell, they've got like holes in the cell where they can actually put the feet to get up. You know, again with the health and safety. But they didn't have no holes in these. You know, literally like Undertaker's got a broken foot and he's climbing a cell, like with no hole where he can't get a proper grip.
Yeah.
Just like this match just blows me away in so many levels. It's unreal.
Yeah, and so it should. Because, you know, the Undertaker climbs up onto the cell, and because it's got I don't know how many times I've watched this match back, or at least a clip back, but I remember watching it on a Windows PC at school. This is how long ago it was, and it was just a clip over and over and over again of him coming off the cell. And I just couldn't believe what I was watching. I was so amazed at what I was seeing. And I've got a completely different appreciation for it now. But a member of the crowd shouts out, which, you know, I'll pick up now because I'm watching it for the God knows how many time. And a member of the crowd was like, "Don't fall on me." You sort of hear that. And then it happens. They nearly fall through one section first. The Undertaker's foot goes through it, doesn't it? And, you know, the crowd gasp and thinking, "Fuck me, oh shit." And then they sort of quiet down a bit, and then it happens. And then we hear that loud crash through the table. It's Mick Foley's body being thrown 16 foot through the Spanish announce table. Hugo Savinovich falls over. Carlos Cabrera's been knocked out cold. And good old Jim Ross, I'll try and do you some justice here, buddy. But he says, "Good God Almighty, as God as my witness, they've killed him. They've killed him."
And that's a shoot. That ain't him, you know, they ain't him being fed lines. That's, you know, JR's obviously, you know, he's a good friend of Mick Foley, and he was honest, you know, he was speaking from the heart, and he was, you know, he feared for his life, definitely.
Definitely. As God as my witness, he's broken in half. Was the follow-up line on the back of that. And this time the crowd is continuing to roar and roar and roar, and they just don't stop. They don't stop for a good 2 minutes. They are just constantly roaring, and they can't believe what they have just witnessed. As neither can I anymore. As a teenager, this was probably the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. As a 30-year-old man at this point, I sort of who has been wrestling for nearly 10 years. The bumps and bruises and so on and so forth. The impact that man must have gone through that table. How was he still alive, Mark? How was he still alive?
I don't know. And don't forget, when you put somebody through the announcer's table, you're clearing the table, you're taking the monitors out, you're moving all the things that could get you hurt. Nobody moved anything for him. You know what I mean? He literally, because, I don't think anybody knew what was coming.
No.
Bang. So he went through the table with monitors sticking out, wires, So he didn't just do a clean bump through a table.
No.
Like most table setups and spots are, from the ring to the outside or whatever. And even that looks like there's the appreciation on so many different levels of like the risk and the payoff, and just it was just absolutely amazing. Fucking like crazy, like the craziest fucking person like walking, but like amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean,
unbelievable. And so we should be in awe. And if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see this, because this is crazy. You will never ever see anything like this again. As much as they try, and as Shane McMahon has dived off cells, it's just not the same. It's not the same.
No.
Crash mats are sort of the exploding crash mats are now put in announce tables when they're taking that. And I'm not saying it still doesn't hurt, but they're completely different materials. It's very, very different and coordinated to how it used to be.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's more health and safety now. It's more planned. It's more structured.
Yeah.
Back then, there was nothing like that in place. Not at all.
You've got Hugo perched over, knocked out. You've got JR begging for help. The Undertaker standing at the edge of the cell, looking down at what he's just done to the man. Terry Funk comes to help. His fallen friend. Refs sort of surround him. The doctor, Francois Petit, is on hand. Doctor of WWF. In the late 90s there, he was featured on the Beyond the Mat quite a lot. When it comes to Mick Foley in particular, this was documented heavily on there as well. And if you've ever seen Beyond the Mat, then you'll know how much work this doctor has on his hands during the Attitude Era, that's for sure. Vince McMahon and Sergeant Slaughter attend as they raise the cage to get Mick stretchered out. A member of the crowd at this point, Martin, when Vince McMahon comes down, shouts to Vince, "You've got your ratings now, McMahon."
You're right, though, eh?
He's dead right. Vince looks absolutely, he's worried that is not a sell job on behalf of Vince McMahon. That is legit concern for what Mick Foley has just done. And I would hope that Mick Foley told Vince McMahon that he was going to do this, but I'm not so sure he did.
No, I think there's a bit, obviously with the documentaries and stuff, I think Mick Foley had said, Vince had said to him afterwards, thank you for what you've done, but don't ever fucking do that again.
Yeah.
So based on that, we didn't have a clue that he was going to do it.
Yeah, because there was a recent one where there was a 20th anniversary, wasn't there? And he sort of did like a stand-up sort of show about it. And I think you're right. I think that's probably where that quote comes from. But yeah, Mick Foley has extensively talked about this match throughout the years, as he definitely changed his career. Vince is definitely visibly worried, as we mentioned. And what happens next is just beyond me again, because he's on the stretcher, he's on his way out. They get halfway up the aisle. the cell's being lowered, the Undertaker's climbing down the other side. And this is the bit where I think, was it planned to continue? What was planned so much after this?
Yeah.
How much could Mick cope with because of he's got to be concussed, he's got to be all over the place. But the Undertaker is sort of struggling to get down, but he's got a clear view of the aisle.
Yeah.
So then Mick's got that crazy look on his face. He's smiling, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? He's smiling. And he starts climbing back up the cell again. And fuck me. What happens next? He's just unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. So he obviously gets off the stretcher and he's everybody's trying to hold him back. Terry Funk's trying to pull him and he's like, get off me, you know. But obviously at this point you don't know. But obviously afterwards you find out that he's got a dislocated shoulder. And bruises and concussion all over the shop. Yeah. So like now you look back on it with like a dislocated shoulder, or he had like a tear in his shoulder, something anyway, concussion. He just comes like walking back to the ring and then just starts climbing the cage again. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? But then obviously Undertaker, you know, this is not planned. He's not said, I'm going to chuck you off the top, and if you get concussed, if this goes wrong, this is what we're going to do. Everything from now on is it's off the bat. It's off the fly. Yeah. So obviously Undertaker's looking at him climbing the cage and thinking, oh fuck, okay, I need to go back up now because that's what we're doing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So let's just go with it and see what happens.
So they get to the section. Undertaker drops a headbutt. He puts him in a chokeslam position, and then he chokeslams him, and that cage breaks. And whatever else breaks when Mick hits the ground is a different story. But he hits that mat hard. Yeah.
Well, obviously, you know, if you knew the spot was going to happen, you could like. I think it happened with Triple H and Cactus Jack at, I believe it was No Way Out in 2000, and they had that Hell in the Cell when he back body dropped him and he went through. But that was obviously planned, and he cushioned the that the floor was cushioned and it gave way. But this fucking ring wasn't giving way because obviously it wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be a choke slam onto the cage, onto the top, and that was it. But the cage fell through. Yeah. So obviously he wasn't planning for it to go through. No. Undertaker's thinking, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah. You can only imagine, obviously, you know, for all the people that are thinking, like, this is amazing, this is brutal, this is horrible. You got to be thinking, what's Undertaker thinking? Because like, he's been seen to putting this person through this pain, and the second one obviously wasn't supposed to go through, but he's just literally chokeslammed somebody through the top of a fucking Hell in the Cell. Don't know if he's dead or not. Do you know what I mean? What's he think?
JR again at this point. Good God, would somebody stop the damn match? And the initial feeling, listening to the commentary, watching the match is this is epic. This is epic, and this is history that we're a part of here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Okay. So I was saying this is epic, this is history, that we're a part of. Like I said, I watched this as a teenager. Watching it as a 30-year-old man is a little bit different, and I feel a little bit different about it. And how Mick must be feeling when he's taken that second bump, especially. God, he's got to be in so much pain. And that's when the referee stormed the ring again. Terry Funk storms the ring. Terry Funk's like, fuck this, I'm buying you some time to recover. And he calls an audible. He says to the Undertaker, chokeslam me. And Terry was in no fit condition to take anything, was he? He looked like he was in pain himself. Yeah. And the Undertaker chokeslams him out of his goddamn trainers.
Brilliant.
It was great.
But you got to imagine, though, like obviously at this point in the match, it started hot, got thrown off the cage, and like I said, there was a couple of minutes of like, well, I wouldn't say a couple of minutes. I'd say like it was a good 5 minutes had passed before like they got Mick Foley out of there. So a lot of these people are worried and concerned, what's going on, and then literally within the space of maybe 3 minutes, he's back through the cage again, and it's another massive. So like it isn't like it's to start the match and then to finish the match. These happen like so close together, and like you got to be thinking like, fuck, just get him out of there. Like now, like this is serious. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, fuck, like it's because it's so quick afterwards. Unreal.
Definitely. I mean, this is the part where, the Undertaker drops down as well. Visibly, you can see the pain that the Undertaker's in when he lands, because immediately he goes for his leg, don't he? So again, this leads back to the whole broken foot situation. You've now got two severely injured people in the ring who are just about to scrap each other and just give you what they've got left for the company, really, for the company and progressing the World Wrestling Federation in the Monday Night Wars.
Exactly. And they haven't even started the match yet, really.
No. The bell doesn't ring until the cage is the Sally's sort of locked. I mean, it's all accredited to as match time. The whole climbing the cell and chucking off the cell, all of it is accredited to match time, as I say. Tim White is the referee for this one. It's funny how Tim White is refereeing this one, and his career was ended inside Hell in a Cell because he took a bump off the apron into the cage once, and that ruined his shoulder completely, I believe. And Tim White had to stop reffing at that point, and then he went down the old suicide skit route. They were good.
Terrible.
So Taker goes for old school on Foley, and adrenaline, as you will attest to, Mark, is such a wonderful thing. And that's
drug in the world.
And exactly, it really is, because what it does here at this point is it allows Mick Foley to realise, you know what, fuck you, Taker, you're not giving me an old school. And he ropes him. So Taker takes it to the bollocks and falls out the ring. And then we get that beauty of a shot where Mick just turns round to the camera. He's smiling like a jester, and his tooth is in his nose. His mouth is covered in blood. It's an iconic shot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably the most iconic shot of the Attitude Era. You'll probably, to me anyway, probably because I'm biased, because I'm a massive Mick Foley fan, but that is just, this match has so many iconic shots. It's unreal. But yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah, I mean, this is as brutal as it gets. This match, I can't believe how they're getting through it. If I'm honest, I really can't. And then he delivers a pile driver on the chair to the Undertaker as well, and I'm thinking, fuck me, what is going on? The Undertaker obviously does a blade job at this point, but he's a 300-pound man. Mick Foley is, dislocated shoulder, internal injuries for sure. His shirt's covered in blood. His mouth's covered in blood. He's fucked, and he picks up this 300-man for a pile driver on a chair. The Undertaker's obviously busted at this point. He's got a broken foot, and they're just two war veterans now, just busted and broken up, just fighting through adrenaline to get this match done. Taker does the blade job after the pile driver on the chair. Foley is, he's just getting... I don't know how he's getting through it. He's drenched in blood. His mouth is busted open. I don't know how the man's continuing, to be honest with you, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. You only have to take, the wrong bump, as yourself, and that either wins you or does you back in, and it rolls you out, and you can't wait to get the match done and finished and feel sorry for yourself after. But how he
get a kebab on the way home.
There you go. That always makes it feel better.
Always.
That's the home remedy for a bad bump. But yeah, I mean, how he gets through, I don't know. No idea. It just shows how unstable he is.
Madness. Then, of course, just when you think they can't do any more than this, surely, where does he go? He goes under the ring. He pulls out a little sack of happy little toys, or happy little pins in this case, and it turns out to be thumbtacks. The crowd were pretty much rested until the thumbtacks come out, and then they were all on their feet. and they were all just as invested as there was when he went through the table and he went through the cell, just for pouring thumbtacks onto the ring. And we all know where this is going, but Mankind, Mick Foley, puts in the mandible claw, but from a very strange, unusual position, which gives the Undertaker the chance to pick him up on his shoulders. Now, Tim White is clearly directing traffic here to Taker, and he's not doing a great job because Taker pretty much, he takes the back bump, but it's sort of like the edge of the thumbtacks.
Yeah.
Mick Foley obviously recognises that and decides to bump and roll. So he gets more and more thumbtacks attached to him, therefore looking like the human pincushion effect that he was going for, right?
Yeah, amazing. And I think after, like in hindsight, well, after the match, Mick Foley said to somebody, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do the. I really wanted to do that thumbtack spot. I'm sorry, I missed it. I really wanted to do that." And people was looking at him thinking, "Are you fucking off your rocker?" Because that's how concussed he was, and it shows that he didn't even have a clue what was going on in that match because he was like gutty because he couldn't do the thumbtack spot.
And I bet you
more people are feeling like taking thumbtacks out of his skull.
Yeah, and I bet you the Undertaker didn't really think that could have been a thing up until he experienced it at WrestleMania 30 against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Because it's common knowledge now that the Undertaker does not remember that match where he lost the streak in New Orleans at WrestleMania 30, and I would imagine Mick Foley was in a similar sort of state in this match, especially if he's backstage saying, "I wish I did the thumbtack match," while thumbtacks are being pulled out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Mick Foley's great from this point because he just calls everything after the thumbtacks. He shouts to Tim White, "Tell him to give me a choke slam." Text the choke slam. Tell him to give me a tombstone. He texts the tombstone. And that, of course, does end it. That is the finish. The Undertaker goes over with a tombstone to get the victory over Mankind in this absolutely brutal, epic encounter. Big Dave Mart gives it 4.5 stars. That's the highest rating that we've had from Big Dave so far. Where's your head at after they go? It's 17 minutes here.
What do you think I'm going to say?
I would hope that you will say 5 stars. Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah, I'm with you. This gives me great privilege and great, astonishment and amazement to agree with you. But yes, this is our first ever 5-star rated match on Hot Take Reviews.
It's because it had everything as well. It had, obviously, you'd have thought that it would have been over by the time, like, he went through the table. No. And then he went up to the top. He thought it'd be over after he got chokeslammed through the top. And then they actually went another, 10 minutes? Just doing brutal stuff to themselves. It had a story. It just shows how professional they are. It was both fucked. It just shows that that's how you deliver a performance, and that's what Hell in the Cell is about. So that's why I give it 5 stars. It wasn't high flying, it wasn't very technical, but I couldn't live myself if I didn't give it 5 stars.
Well, I mean, couldn't live with yourself's a bit strong, but I completely agree with you. It definitely needs to be rated 5 stars, and I'm glad we have rated it as 5 stars and that we agree on the rating of this match, because those two men give a hell of a lot more than what they needed to. And as wrestling fans, we should absolutely appreciate that entertainment that they've just give us, because they've put their bodies on the line for us.
Well, you got to think, in hindsight, if Mick Foley did originally, go back on the stretcher after the first, throw off the top of the cell, nobody would have thought anything bad of him.
No,
he's just been chucked up a fucking 16-foot cage.
Yep. Nobody
would have said, "Oh, he's shitty. He's bottled it." Nobody would have thought. If anything, his legacy would have still lived on as being like that hardcore legend.
Yeah.
But he got off the stretcher and he fucking carried on. Do you know what I mean? And that's, to me, that just shows the love that he has for what he does.
Definitely. They try and stretcher him out again at the end of the match once the Undertaker's left. He's having none of that. He walks out. He gets a standing ovation. Even the doctor starts clapping him as he refuses the stretcher and starts walking to the back. But yeah, it was just what a match. What an occasion. If you've not seen it, you need to see it. So, with that being said, it's main event time, ladies and gentlemen. And we've been building to this one for over a week now, as this is our second recording. So it's main event. It's for the WWF Championship. We see the promo package. We get what it's all about. It is a first blood match. It is the robotic Kane. If I do not win the World Wrestling Federation Championship, then I will set myself on fire. Decent or?
No, it's good.
All right, sound. I'll take
That's
that. 5 stars or? Okay, I'll see how it is. I tried. Anyway, what a gimmick. What a robotic voice, as we've talked about previously, but fantastic. It's a first blood match. Kane versus the champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin, for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. So Howard Finkel does his classic announcement. I'm not going to do it. Just imagine it. I've done enough impressions for one show, I think. And now, it's not quite Michael Buffer, Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer. Which one does UFC? Bruce. So it's Michael that does WCW, boxing. Right? Boxing.
And WCW.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out to Bruce and Michael Buffer. So, what Kane comes to the ring now. Up until this point, Kane has never wore 2 sleeves. It's a very tactical move. He covers the other arm, so he's got no skin exposed whatsoever. What did you make of that tactical change?
Well, when I originally first, because I remember watching this pay-per-view live as well, back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was thinking exactly the same. I've never seen him with the full sleeves. It's a first blood match. The guy's wearing a fucking mask. Stone Cold Steve Austin's got a bald head. Wears nothing on top. He wears chunks. He's got, the odds are against him here. But yeah, I was thinking, unless he cuts his hand to show that he's bleeding, what's good, literally only his hands are showing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm with you. When I first watched this back in 1998 and Kane started walking to the ring, I went, shit, there's no way Stone Cold can win this one.
Yeah.
How are they going to do it? How are they going to make Stone Cold come out on top? And how's Kane going to set himself on fire? They were the 2 things that were going through my head, because it was almost like, we'd seen his hand on fire at a previous event when he did the Inferno match with the Undertaker. So we'd seen that, but he clearly, his hand was on fire and he ran backstage as quickly as he possibly could to get a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
But this was like, I'm going to set my whole body on fire, so to speak. So they were the 2 thoughts running through my head. Earl Ebner, of course, is the referee for this one. Mr. Main Event himself, no stranger to controversy, as well as JR puts over on the announcing table too. We get an absolutely amazing ovation for Stone Cold Steve Austin. The glass shatters, the crowd roars. Austin makes his way to the ring. He's all bandaged up on his elbow from a staph infection. I believe. But he's ready to go, and he's ready to just fucking brawl it out with Kane, isn't he?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like, the start of this match is amazing. So Stone Cold Steve Austin just hit the ring. I think he ducks a couple of lines, hits him with a Luthez press.
Big Luthez press, yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. He's Stone Cold is showing people he's ready for this match. Whether that was something that they organised because they've got to follow the fucking Undertaker Mankind match. So he's gone up to Kane and said, right, we need to fucking do something here.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Because you're the main event and you can't end the show on a shit show after you had the Undertaker Mankind. But
not at all.
What a start! What a start!
What a start indeed. I mean, the Hell in a Cell starts to lower for this one as well. So they're fighting on the outside. They're brawling back and forth. All of a sudden, the cell starts to lower. There's a good spot with Austin when he nearly gets choked on the cell as it's lowering. Kane's trying to keep him there, but Austin just about avoids it.
Just imagine that job, like not doing it too much, like not lowering it too much, because it come like within like an inch of his body, like.
And that control could fail, couldn't it? It's a red and a green button, surely.
Yeah.
Up, down, whatever. We'll stop, start, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
If that control failed, fucking hell, Austin's dead, are you?
Yeah. There you go.
Simple as that. So, Austin takes some great bumps off the cell, and he's not really protecting his face. He's just sort of taking it. And this makes it even more compelling, really, for the story, because you use the wrestlers, obviously, or even, to protect their heads as much as possible from bleeding. And in this one, the microphone nearly went there. In this one, Austin's not doing that, which, he's playing a dangerous game, really, because if he gets it wrong, he could be busted open a lot earlier than the expected finish.
Well, there you go. He's leaving himself open to like a potential like real like injury. Do you know what I mean? So whether it's planned or not, whether it's bladed or not, you put your head against some steel, it's going to fucking cut open, ain't it? You know what I mean?
It is, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, from there, Austin calls everything as loud as John Cena in this one.
God damn it, Kane.
Yeah, literally. You fucking son of a bitch, as he's stomping a mud hole in his ass and stuff like that. It's good. It's good. The announcers put over that Earl Ebner in the free-for-all says he won't stop it for a little graze or a little cut. It will have to be something significant, like a broken nose or a busted open head to stop the match. Austin immediately starts bleeding from his back during one point in the match. And I'm glad that they said that.
Yeah.
Because I looked at his back and I went, fucking hell, they're going to have to stop it for that.
Yeah. But to be fair, I'd lost all faith in it by then, because I was thinking it's a first blood match. But before they obviously announced it, and he's fucking bleeding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Kane's won it, like, he's bleeding.
Definitely.
And then he went, oh no, it's because it has to be a significant cut, and I think they tried to cover it over at this point to say,
Definitely.
oh well, he has actually legit like cut himself open, unplanned. How can we fucking sort this out now? Vince McMahon's on the fucking on the headset.
No, Vince
McMahon's going to be something serious.
Vince McMahon's up in the VIP box watching this one. But when he's on camera, you see the headset placed in front of him on a stand, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, he's even got him wired up a headset up there so he can communicate with the commentators and gorilla. I mean, you're on screen character now, Vince. Just chill out, mate.
Yeah.
Just chill out and let everybody else take care of it. But apparently not. Apparently he needs to still get involved at that point.
It's all about control, buddy. It's all about, the man in charge needs to be in control. He needs to be in charge of everything. He needs to be, it's a bit of a common thing that I'm fully aware of nowadays. But
and it's not for saying that that hasn't served him well in the last God knows how many years. I mean, at this point, at the beginning of the show, the World Wrestling Federation for over 50 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment, and he's probably been close to running the promotion for. He's got to be pushing on 50 years running it, surely.
Yeah, exactly.
So he wouldn't have got this far and dominated the wrestling scene if he wasn't as controlling as he is. Does he get everything right? You know, no one gets everything right, do they?
No.
But he gets most right. And at this point in 1998, he's probably where he gets majority of it right, because he's listening to his talent. He's letting them grow. He's letting them develop as individuals. And that is why the likes of The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Triple H, for example, emerged during this period and were able to cut the mustard with the already established Undertaker, Shawn Michaels before his back injury, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What a time to be a wrestling fan, the Attitude Era, I tell you.
Exactly. I think people nowadays don't realise how much of a good era it is. I think, you know, they watch the documentaries and they watch YouTube videos, but I think until, like, if you haven't lived in that era, like, I think it grasps you a bit more if you was actually involved and you went to school and you was talking about it, and you did all the wrestling moves in the back garden and, you know, all that sort of stuff. I think it's very special, but I suppose everybody's got their own eras, ain't they? So every era is special to everybody in a different way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And, you know, trying to keep up with not only the present and future of wrestling. I'd like to think I went back and studied the history of wrestling as well, and to get a feel for, you know, the golden era with Hulk Hogan on top in WWF, for example, and then the new generation era before the Attitude Era, because I definitely didn't watch all of it live or every week, but I've definitely studied enough to know what was happening.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive! Shooting from the hip, talking about wrestling on a Sunday evening at gone 10 p.m. Drinking the darkest of fruits on Hot Tag Reviews. One of the funniest spots in this match, if you can actually think there was something funny about this match, was when they went over towards the announce table and Austin grabs King's fan and he just whacks Kane round the head with it.
I think that's a good thing about Austin, though. He's a lot of the stuff, and he's said it himself for a long time, that he's a lot of the matches he didn't even talk to people about them. He was just like, let's just go with what the crowd say. Let's just, like, you know, we can talk, so let's just talk to each other and let's just get it, you know, just feel the mood and feel what people want. So I think Austin just does what he wants, and if he's got a fan there, he's going to fucking pick it up and hit it. You know what I mean?
I mean, when you say talk, he was definitely shouting.
Shouting.
Like I say, he's louder than John Cena, mainly because he's pretty much deaf in one ear, isn't he, Austin?
Yeah.
And he always struggled to hear the call and so on and so forth. So him being able to lead matches and do the calling definitely helped him a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And he definitely had the brain for it, that is for sure. We're going towards the end of the match now as Hebner takes a bump on the outside. It's a solid bump as well, really. He gets crushed up against the cell, doesn't he? Yeah.
Fair play to him.
And then, I can't believe what I'm about to say. I can't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
But Mick Foley, he's back. And he's heading towards the ring with a steel chair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
He should be halfway to the bloody hospital by now.
Definitely.
But no, what he's got to do, he's got a spot in this match.
He's got a spot in the main event, and he needs to see it through.
Because that's his job, and that's what he wants to do.
And he does a great job. He gets in the ring.
They're crazy.
The cell comes down again. I forgot to mention, actually, before we talk about this, there was a really cool spot where Kane was overhanging on the door of the cell, and they started lifting it, and Kane was just in the middle of the air.
Yeah, brilliant.
Also,
it's just like he was getting like 8 foot in the air, and he was just like balancing, and amazing.
Mick Foley gets a stunner for his trouble. Kane gets a stunner as well after a low blow. And then the Undertaker arrives in his jumper. He just... This is got to be one of the funniest times I've ever seen the Undertaker come to the ring. He's just got a big black comfy jumper on, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So the spot is Mankind's in the middle. Undertaker is coming from the entrance way. Austin is the other side of Mankind, away from the entrance side. And Austin's ready to chair Mankind. Undertaker times it well enough to be wanting to concerto in if you're Edge and Christian. And you know what a concerto is. So double chair to the head, one from either side. Mankind manages to duck out the way. The Undertaker's chair strikes Austin's chair into the back of Austin's head. You guessed it. He busts him wide open. He takes the blade job. The Undertaker goes after Mick Foley, starts sending him back towards the entrance area, but not after or not before even waking up the referee by pouring gasoline over him. Now, I found that to be a really odd, strange decision that the Undertaker, not Paul Bearer, not Mankind, the Undertaker was the person to wake the referee up. What do you think was going on with that creative decision?
The only thing I could think of is if this was all planned out and they didn't have time to redo it, but maybe Mankind and Undertaker should have had a different match where something would have happened in that match or something. I don't know. It was a really weird decision, but my only thing that I can think of is if something happened in the Mankind Undertaker match that should have happened and obviously didn't due to the circumstances, then I'd have probably explained it or something would have happened. And they probably just thought, it's too late to change it now. We've got to go with that finish. I don't know.
The thought process I have is obviously, in the future. So what we're talking 2 months later, the main event of SummerSlam 98 is going to be The Undertaker versus Austin for the championship. This just creates a little bit of tension between the two characters. Undertaker obviously does go on, more so in 1999, to be a heel. But maybe this is just the start of deciding to go down that route, shall we say? Yeah,
this is the reason why. This is the reason why Austin's obviously pissed at the Undertaker, and that's why they had the feud, because he cost him, busting him open. Obviously, ultimately it's cost him the match because he's bleeding all over the place.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. So that's obviously the start of the feud. But in terms of like the pouring the petrol on the referee, I don't get that part of it. I understand why they did the chair shot, but I don't know why he done the petrol, and I don't know even why he come out to chase. Like Undertaker's beat Mankind.
Yeah,
he's put him through fucking hell.
Yeah,
like why does he have to come out and like feel he has to inflict more pain on him? Like this all this leads me to believe that something should have happened in their match, and it was too late for creative to change it. And they just said, look, just go with what we already planned.
Okay.
And obviously something happened different in the Undertaker match.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. It is a fair comment. And I guess at this point, we just never know. And we'll have to take it as it is at this time. But one thing I did like before the referee spotted Austin busted open is Austin tries to drive the back of Kane's head into the turnbuckle. Because think about it, that's the only area that was actually exposed.
Yeah.
So it was quite clever. Yeah, quite clever. Psychology's there all day long. I think the one thing it might have been missing is him going for the mask a little bit more to actually expose him. I don't think he even went for the mask once in the match, actually,
No.
from a memory. But the bottom line is that Earl Hebner does spot Austin, busted open and calls for the bell. And therefore, Howard Finkel has the pleasure and honour of saying, and no! World Wrestling Federation champion, Kane.
Yeah.
And I'll never do it justice like Howard Finkel, but that was the result at the end of this one. Very strange from what happens. We obviously get the camera shot of Austin pissing her blood, which is great. But then the camera just shoots to Vince McMahon in the VIP box. He's dead happy, and then the pay-per-view cuts off.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh,
it's because
that was
they filled the show with all these 9 matches, and obviously the Undertaker Mankind match shouldn't have gone as long as obviously what it did. So they've got cut off the air, haven't they? Yeah,
they did get cut off the air by the sound of it, and by the looks of what happened. This match goes 50 minutes and 58 seconds. Big Dave gives it 3.25 stars. Mark, where's your head at?
I'll give it 4. I like this match.
You liked it?
This match.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot, yeah.
What did you like about it, Mark?
The finish.
Why did the Undertaker come back?
Obviously, the questions, you still got to ask yourself why, but that doesn't, tear away from the fact of how it happened and what happened and the emotion, and it was just amazing because, like, obviously the Undertaker didn't mean to do it and he busted him open on accident, and Mick Foley come back and Undertaker come out, and there was lots going on, and I don't know. I think the finish of the match was the decider for me, but it was better than it was the second best match on the card, so I'll probably give it 4 stars.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not sure I give any match 3 stars throughout the night, but I'll give this one 3 stars just to be on the safe side. 3.5 if I did give something else 3 stars during the card. Get off the fence. All right, I'll give it 3.5 to be on the safe side. I did enjoy it for what it was. It was a very short-lived WWF Championship run for Kane. If you know, if you don't know, he did. Yeah, exactly. 24 hours later, to be exact, on Monday Night Raw, Stone Cold Steve Austin became the WWF champion once again. Kane didn't really have a good or a proper world title run until much, much later on in his career. So, short-lived, but did a job, did what it needed to do to give a bit of a shock to the crowd, who would have definitely been expecting to see Stone Cold Steve Austin leave that arena as the World Wrestling Federation champion.
Yeah, I think it got people tuning into the next night as well, and it's all about the next few shows. You can't always give the crowd what they want on the night, and you always got to still build that story and build it up. So it definitely had probably the same amount of viewers, if not more, tuning into the next night to see what Austin's got to say about it. So that's the whole reasoning behind that, I think. So very clever man, Vince McMahon is.
Very, very clever man indeed. This has been the King of the Ring 1998. It's been a great pain in the arse to get this episode ready for you all, with all the technical difficulties that we've had. So we do apologise for any robotic voices that you may have heard on the WCW, what was it called? Bash at the Beach from 1994, and also this episode. But soon enough, me and Marty will not be doing this over a Zoom recording. Is the technology that we're using. We will be sat next to each other, of course, adhering to social distancing. But, from July 4th, certain venues will be reopening, and hopefully me and Martin will be attending one of those venues to complete a live recording together in person next to each other. How great is that going to be?
some of the things you take for granted beforehand. It's amazing.
Really do, really do. So again, apologies for all the technical difficulties that we've been having so far. Hopefully, stick with us, ride it out, and hopefully, it's been a great journey while we've been doing it with some of the pay-per-views that we've covered. Many more to come down the road. We don't know what's next at the minute. I'm not sure if we've decided.
No, not yet. We'll chuck a couple out there and just see what people think.
Okay, we're going to put it to a vote and go from there. So watch this space. Mark, what did you rate this pay-per-view in total?
3.5.
Yeah, fair. I'll go with that. I will stick. I won't argue with you. I'm happy. I'm happy with 3.5 stars. I think overall, 2-match card, 3-match card if you want to include the King of the Ring final, but I don't. So
no.
2-match card it is. Builds up very well to that 2-match card. Do you really need to watch all of it back? Probably not. But you might as well, just for bants.
I'd say watch the first match and then just skip to the match 8.
To be fair, that's not a bad shout because it's an interesting opener. It gets you warmed up, doesn't it? So you don't have to sit through all the other shit that we say. Fair play.
Exactly.
Good choice. Watch Taka Michinoku be a headbanger, and then watch Mick Foley and The Undertaker kill each other, followed by Austin and Kane trying to do the same thing.
There you go.
King of the Ring 1998, baby. So once again, I've been Rob Campbell.
I've been Mark Holland.
This has been Hot Tag Reviews, and we'll see you next time.